everyone, and welcome to this week's tutorial. If this is the first time you're finding my videos, please make sure you hit subscribe below so you're notified of any future videos that I post. This week I'm going to start looking at creating a wellness dashboard, but I'm going to kind of start step by step. And in this one, all I'm going to do, as you can see on the screen, is I'm going to look at sleep quality, and I'm going to try and create a rolling average. And some SD that you can add in plus and minus. You can kind of see if they're within or without, or sort of outside of some bounds. So yeah, let's get going. So I've just got some dummy data that I've created for some wellness variables. I've already loaded in. So this one is going to be our sleep quality. This one so far is just by day. Some values for sleep quality. As you can see, there's always some variation, people, and these are always going to be an absolute value of 1 to 5 in this example. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a rolling average. This one, what I'm going to do in this scenario is I'm just going to use a 3-day rolling average because we want it to be kind of close. What you could do, and I could show you this in a future video, is change the number of days that you have your rolling value over. So what we're going to do is I've already got Tabular Editor open here, and I've got some measures that I'm going to create. They're just blank at the moment. So first, let's just create our rolling average for sleep. So here we're just going to use a couple of things. So here I'm just going to use days as a blank variable, and we'll replace this in the future with a dynamic value that we can select from a slicer. And then we're just going to go straight in and create our value. This is quite an easy formula, and this one you would have seen used to create sort of chronic values and stuff like that within training load. So what we're going to do is we're going to average sleep quality metric, and then I forgot my comma. We're going to use dates and period, and for this what you'll do is you'll use your date table, and so you'll find that first, just the date column, and then you can do first or last date. I tend to just use last date. And then you're going to use your column again for that. And then now, because we have our variable, we're going to use underscore days. And then our value is going to be day on the end here. You can use this function to create sort of monthly or weekly values from memory. I haven't used those much, but they are there as different options. So there, if we just reformat our DAX, will tell me if I've done something wrong. Okay, no, we're good, so here we go. So we'll save that, and here we can see we've got some 3-day values appeared here. So now we can see what these look like over time. So this is going to include the day of the value, and then we'll go back 3 days. So if we went into our value here and change this to 7, for example, you can see it kind of smooths out. If we change it to 21, again, it gets a lot smoother. So we're using 3 or 5 as a good example, a good way of finding recent values is the best way I should say. So you could use first date as well, yeah. And your values don't really change at all. So we'll just leave that for now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a standard deviation as our positive value. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to take this, just because it's easy to reuse. And what we're going to do is change a couple of things here. We're going to, change this to standard deviation.p. And then because we're not wanting a rolling value, we're wanting a value from all time. So what we're going to do is use a filter statement in here. I need to spell filter correctly. So filter, and then we're going to use all from our wellness data. And then the next thing we need to do is filter by our athlete. So what we need to do here is create another variable. So we're going to go var athlete equals, I'm going to find the name column because that's what we have as our filter at the moment. So then we can do the same thing and drag in our name column here, and then equals underscore athlete. So now we have those. We need to make sure we've closed off all our brackets. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this to standard div. And then we're going to create another variable, which we're going to use as our value. And for that, what we want to do is we want our rolling average from before. So we're going to pull in our rolling average measure. And then we're going to go plus our underscore standard div value. So there we go. What we can do is we can actually just copy this. So I'm going to do that now and add it into our minus value, but obviously now we're going to change that to minus. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into BI to make sure or see what our errors are. And as always, I forgot to add an aggregation. So we're going to use selected value to find our selected value. And that should find it for us. So we just need to copy this over into our other measure. Almost need to write this on my forehead to make sure I remember it. So here we go, we've got our values. So what you can do, let's click on this, and we are going to change our y-axis to always start at 0. And we are going to remove our secondary axis because we're not too bothered by that there. And looks like I have accidentally moved my start value. So there we go, 0. And to make this easier to see, what you can do is, one, I always change my bars to a lighter color. And then your rolling average you can create nice and simply. And then you can also create these a little differently. I tend to use the same color for the above and below. And then in our shapes, what you can do is customize series. So we can leave our rolling sleep average value as a solid line, and then we can change our positive and negative values to dotted lines. So now you can see really simply if a value is in or within a region of values. An extra step you can take for this, if you like, is you can change this from being just the absolute value, and you can use a smallest worthwhile change if you like, and use a 0.2 or whatever you think is appropriate, and change the size of your bounds or your for either side. And then what you can do is you can always make sure that your y-axis ends at 5. So you've got your higher end and your lower end. So there we have it. It looks really, I guess, really jaggedy with the way that we have the number of days. So let's just change this a little bit further out, get a little bit smoother, and there you go. You can kind of see now. So days like here are well outside sort of the range of good values that this athlete has been experiencing over time. So if we change this, we can see that we have differences with our athletes. You can obviously, if you would like, create the standard deviation to also be within a certain period of time. And that can help you just to sort of see some differences as well, if that's what you're looking for. So for now, we're going to leave it there, and I'm going to go away and I'll add some of the extra measures for the other metrics. And then we can create a nice little dashboard so we can see an athlete over time for all their wellness measures. If you liked this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe below, and be on the lookout for future videos where we will continue to power performance through that. Thank you.